Greetings, friends, and welcome to Mark's Vinyl Collection, episode 12. The main reason for today's video is to thank Barakapdub, Paul. As you all may know, he put up a video very recently promoting my debut record, Projekt Gemineye, An Ordinary Day. To say that his video was helpful is an understatement, because at this point I am maybe about 15 copies away from selling out completely, which is fantastic. After his video went up, I got just flooded with orders, which is incredible. I'm very grateful for that. If you haven't heard about Paul or Barakapdub, or aren't familiar with his channel, I would highly suggest checking it out. Paul is probably easily one of the most brilliant people I've ever had the honor to watch on a video. His knowledge of vinyl records is incredible. His level of detail as far as research is second to nobody, I think. And the amount of knowledge that I've learned just watching his videos is like university level. I have learned a lot about dead wax information, about different pressing plants, and that's mainly because he has a brilliant series called Tales from the Dead Wax, which I highly recommend you check out. He goes through all the major pressing plants around the globe, talks about the pros and cons, talks about how to identify pressings from those various plants, and just dead wax information in general, how to find out who cut the lacquers for these records, talks about the engineers who master these albums. I mean, the amount of information is just incredible. And if you're a vinyl collector, I almost say that it's imperative to watch this if you want to collect the very best pressings of some of these records that are out there. Also, I would say that he has a good sense of humor. He has a oddities series where he shows us some rather odd and unique vinyl pressings. So I would say that his channel is a combination of humor and highly intellectual. So I would highly recommend to go and check it out. I've learned a lot. I mean, if my level of knowledge about vinyl records was here before, it's now up here. So I would highly recommend to go check it out. And I'd also like to take this second to say hello to the vinyl community at large. Hello. And I'd like to say how honored I am to now be finally brought into the fold. I think Paul's video has done that. I've been introduced to a lot of people that I've been watching over the years make videos, to be quite honest with you. There's just people offhand here that I can think of, like Mr. Hall of Fame, Mean Mr. Mayo. I've been watching a lot of Beetle Brad and his videos. There's just so many different people that I've been watching. I mean, honestly, just trying to remember them all offhand is quite a task, because there's so many different people that do things. I mean, even Brian, who does a video channel too as well, mainly around beetle collecting as well. There's also SMF Captain Howdy, who I've been watching a lot because he's a big Kiss guy as well. There's a British gentleman who goes under the name Stripey Rambles, who I watch a lot of. He does a big thing now about the Beatles collecting, as far as the Agostini collection and the nightmare that it has been for him collecting these records. And yeah, I know there's a lot of other people too. I'm just trying to just quickly shuttle through my subscription list to just kind of see I don't leave out anybody. Beetle Brad I mentioned. Also, Derek Vaughn, who's a very popular figure amongst the vinyl community. I've been watching him for a very long time. I think he's probably the longest that I've been watching. And my fellow Canadian friend, of course, oops, sorry about that, Fit to be Tie-Dyed out in Vancouver is also somebody who I watch very frequently. So thank you, everybody. I hope I can be just as important to the community as you people all are. So thank you again. And since you guys all talk about vinyl, how about we talk about some more vinyl? Let's talk about the stuff that I've collected over the last couple of weeks. And let's get to that now. Okay, so with that said, let's get on to the new additions to my collection for this episode. So first up is a record that I just acquired very recently, which is the Vangelis record here. And even the title of it doesn't hit me right now, How Heaven and Hell. And it's a very interesting record. Obviously, I still have it in its original shrink here. This is how I actually got it. What's interesting about this record is when I acquired it, it came with some extra little bit of information. It came with this postcard. And it came with this letter. Now, what this letter is, it's from the production company that was working on that television show Cosmos. And the letter was sent to KCET, which I'm supposing is a television station somewhere in California back in the 80s. And it had to do with their inquiries about the theme music to Cosmos, which was from this album. So, very interesting bit of history. I've never listened to this record yet, so I can't even tell you offhand what my opinions are of it. But I will take it out really quickly. Let you take a quick look here. Still in the original sleeve. So, yeah, I do like Vangelis' work. To be honest with you, I'm more familiar with the work he did with John Anderson, with the John and Vangelis stuff. But he's a phenomenal keyboard player, and to think that at one time they were actually considering bringing him in to play keyboards when Rick Wakeman left, that would have been quite the interesting combination. Okay, the next record I'm going to show you is by an artist whose music I'll openly admit I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm an independent musician who has his own recording studio and does his own records and mixes and does a whole bunch of other music related things. And when this artist came out with his reissue campaign, I was very fascinated by it because he made an absolutely unique website for it, and his attention to reissuing details and remastering and stuff like that is just phenomenal. And his stern, no two ways about it attitude with using only the best analog source material for his reissues is very commendable. So I'm talking about Neil Young. And this record is the first one that I've got from his collection, which is Comes a Time. As you can see down at the bottom here, if I can get this in here, this is always a thing that I have trouble with here. At the bottom there, there we go. Mastered from the original source analog tapes. Now, I'll be honest, I put this on my stereo downstairs and started doing some work, and I'm telling you, there were a few moments in this recording where the audio was so clear and unbelievable. I actually thought that there was somebody in my basement. It was that good. I mean, don't take my word for it. If you like audiophile type albums, this is a record for you. The clarity is unbelievable. The sound is absolutely fantastic. I mean, never have I heard so good a recorded acoustic guitar as on this record. So hats off to Neil Young. I think he did a fantastic job overseeing the reissuing and remastering of his work. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe, let me double check here. Yeah, Chris Bellman did the lacquering for this, who is a top-notch guy. I believe he works with Bernie Grundman in Bernie Grundman Studios, so you know you're going to get top-notch stuff right there. And just to show you, I know this is all about vinyl, but just to show you my commitment to trying to figure out and researching audio quality, I also went out and bought his CD box set, which is apparently sourced from analog tapes as well. And it has these albums on it. And so far from what I've listened to, it sounds really good, really good. Some of the best sounding CDs I've actually heard in a long time. So it can be done, people. You can, make really top quality sounding vinyl and CDs. I mean, the vinyl part of it I know you can do, but I'll be honest, there came a point where everybody and their brother was claiming that they were making, remasters from the original source tapes, and some of them just were underwhelming, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know if there was just something wrong with their tapes, or they were just lying and didn't use analog tape, or whatever the case may be, but that was the first recording that I actually can truly see a very large difference in sonic quality from other vinyl records that I own. So hats off to them. Now, there wouldn't be a Mark's vinyl collection without this band, and I'm always on the hunt for records from them. And we're talking about Kiss. This is Asylum. As you can see in the, I always get that wrong, over here, their logo is the censored logo. Notice the S's, because this is a German release of the record. In Germany, the SS that they had in the original logo were banned in Germany because it looked too much like the SS from the Nazi Germany. So they had to use these revised ones for older German releases. Well, to a point, and I'll talk about that in another episode. So there's that. Just really quickly, I'll open this up and show you the vinyl. One thing about German pressings I find, because I hunt them down a lot, especially for Kiss records. Back in the 70s, they were distributed and done by Bellafon, and their stuff is incredible. I don't think I've heard a bad pressing, German pressing that was done by Bellafon ever. Now this just has a gamma indicator on it here, and it has these blue labels. I believe this was done though by Phonogram at this point. It was no longer Bellafon. This is a great record. I know it gets knocked a lot for that fantastic album cover, but I really believe that this is one of the best non-makeup Kiss records out there. And this pressing of it is really, really well done. Sonically, it's very punchy in your face and surprisingly quiet for records pressed in the 80s. So let's move on to the next one. And me being Canadian, my favorite band And not to say that being Canadian, it's mandatory to have this band as your favorite band, but I would find it odd if you didn't at least really enjoy them. And that's Rush. And here's a copy of Crest of Steel. Now, I'm extremely pleased to have found this one, because this, my friends, is a Canadian first pressing of the record. It does look like it's seen better days, but keep in mind this record came out in 1975. The first indicator of it being a first is where it says marketed by Polydor right there. Also, later pressings of this album were just a non-gatefold, and this is a gatefold of it. And an even more clearer indicator of it being a first pressing is the labels. So I'll show you. You have the Mercury building. And in the dead wax, me being one of these dead wax nerds who looks around for these sorts of things, I was extremely happy to find this one, because not only is it a first pressing indicator, SRM-1-1046A Can 1, which is a first pressing, but it also has stamped in there, well, just master disc is stamped, but hand initialized is GK, which is Gilbert Kong. And for all you people who might follow Paul's Tales of the Dead Wax, Gilbert Kong is, in most audio people's minds, equal to Robert Ludwig, Alan Zentz, Bernie Grunman. To me, that guy is just as good. When you're looking for Rush albums that sound good, you look for that GK, because it sounds incredible. I have a Fly By Night with the GK, Gilbert Kong, unbelievable. A 2112 actually that I found miraculously with his initials. That sounds, I'd put it up against the reissue any day of the week. Sounds better to me, to be quite honest. So Gilbert Kong, look for him when you're looking for Rush. Now, the last record I'm going to show you is a record from a record label that I was introduced to on Facebook through another set of audiophile people, and the page is called Windham Hill Records. I'm not sure if that's just a fan site or if it's like if it has a longer name. I don't remember at this present time, but it's a page or a group that's dedicated to all the Windham Hill releases. And one of the big artists on this label is William Ackerman, who I believe is also the gentleman who might have even started this label. He's a fantastic guitar player, unbelievable. This record label is the very meaning of audiophile. Okay, like, you want to talk about records that sound incredible, and like every single one of their releases are incredible, because they don't fool around with their recordings. I mean, they even put it here on here. They even talk about every single little aspect on here. Like, for example, it says here, this recording was made on a Studer 24-track recorder at 30 inches per second. No noise reduction or compression was employed. The recording was mixed digitally on a Sony PCM 1600 system. KEF speakers were used for audio monitoring and referencing on this recording. It was also mastered by Bernie Grunman at A&M Records. Now, I know that most people are going to say, ooh, you know, they did digital master of it, but they did a totally analog recording of it and then mastered it to digital because they wanted that absolute clear fidelity of it. Now, this is also done on a sort of Quiex vinyl. If you were to put light on it, like Paul has shown us many times on his videos, it is translucent. This is like a root beer colored vinyl when you hold it up to the light. And this record, honestly, if you want to listen to a record that sounds incredible, where you can hear every little nuance of the guy's playing, you can hear his fingers up against the string, you can hear his hands moving up and down the fretboard. These are the kind of recordings you want to get. Windham Hill Records. Sounds incredible. I highly recommend it. So those are my latest additions right now. There are going to be plenty more because I already did pick up a few more since this collection. But I'll leave it at that for now. And again, thank you, Paul Barakapdub, for your fantastic review of my record. I really owe you one, my friend. And thank you, vinyl community, for watching. And have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I will see you most likely after New Year's. But I'll probably be doing another video just before New Year's to do my 2017 picks. And I'll probably do that under my Projekt Gemineye channel. My little episodes that I do for that channel. Okay, sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. So let's just leave it at that before I make an even bigger fool of myself. Okay, so have a good night, my friends, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.